Finally. Today is part 4 of our series, Back to the Truth. The heart behind the series was to take time together this summer to stop and reconsider some of our beliefs, priorities, perspectives, things that we picked up along the way. And so to compare those, to consider those in light of the gospel. There's a lot of popular conversations, there's a lot of popular presentations and popular messages that bring all the boys to the yard, like milkshakes, and they cause people to want to be at church. It packs the seats. The Apostle Paul said, if I wanted to be popular, if I wanted people to like me, if I wanted to have a lot of fanfare, I would preach a completely different message. And so his message tended to repel more than it drew because the gospel is polarizing and it doesn't feed our flesh. It cuts off the air supply to our flesh. It doesn't feed it. And so a lot of times the beliefs, the perspectives that we picked up along the way, in light of the gospel, in light of the truth, just don't serve us well because they're not accurate. And so I knew going into the series that the conversations we're going to have every week are going to be a little jarring for some of us. And I understood that, and it was a calculated risk because I think we need to talk about it. But they're jarring because when do you ever really stop and consider why you believe what you believe? You never really scrutinize beliefs. You just live with them. You don't even know where you got them. You don't even know why you think the way you think or believe the way you believe. It just happened. You just picked it up. As a wise person once said, most things are caught rather than taught. You just catch it. Mimos said so that's what I believe. And so I knew this was going to be a little jarring because we're stopping to question and reconsider some of these things that have been with us for so long, but I think it's absolutely vital because nothing's more important than what you believe. You are what you believe. Your life is a product of your belief system. You are what you believe, and so it shapes our life. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 encourages us to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, and that is to say, let's make sure that we're editing and being careful what's taking root in our minds, what's taking root in our lives. Let's put a bouncer at the door. We don't want to just let anything and everything in. You can kind of go down the wrong train of thought pretty quickly. Romans 12:2, very popular, well-known verse, says this: Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but instead let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Don't just accept the world as it's handed to you, because that's conformity. That's what everybody does. Everybody just accepts everything and like, okay, that's what we all believe. What do we believe? Tell us. That's not the way that we're designed to live. We're meant to be fueled by a specific form of fuel, and that is the truth of the gospel. So far, what we've talked about has been obedience, self-improvement, knowledge. Today, I want to have a conversation about the subject of strength. I want to talk about strength today. The quality of strength is definitely elevated, admired, and even demanded more so than most any other quality. It is one that is on the forefront of most Christian conversations and considerations. It is imperative, we believe, that you act strong, that you be strong, that you stay strong, and that you get stronger. We should always be working to get stronger, become stronger people. And there's a song I was listening to this week. It's not a very good song, I'll be honest with you, but it is. It's not very catchy, but the lyrics are good. How many of you guys have ever heard of the 80s into 90s band Go West? Anyone? Yeah. Their peak. They hit it big, relatively speaking, with the song "King of Wishful Thinking." I'm the king of wishful thinking. It was on the Pretty Woman soundtrack, And so that's the biggest hit. 3 years later, that was 1990, 3 years later, they released a song called Never Let Them See You Sweat, which is the cheesiest 90s song you've ever heard. It sounds like the Seinfeld bass line with just a bunch of random 90s noises. It's not very good. The words, however, very good. And I wanted to read a quote from I told Sonia this morning, I said, I was playing it for her, and she was like, ugh. She almost jumped out of the car. I told her, I said, Go West is going to be looking at Spotify today, like, our song got played like 6 times today. And you guys are going to, quadruple what they've had the last 20 years. This is some lines from the song, Never Let Them See You Sweat. Everybody says you're brave, but the truth, baby, is that every little chance you take turns out to be a big mistake. Keep it inside. Though you want to cry, listen to me for your sake. They can drive you crazy till you doubt yourself. It's the game plan, baby. Never let them see you sweat. Say it don't faze me. Not like someone else. Ain't no if or maybe. Never let them see you sweat. Never let them know you're weak. Never let them know that you're having a hard time. Never let anybody know that you can't fully do what you're expected to do, that you're not doing as well as you want everyone to believe. Never let them see you sweat. I was writing this message this week, and I was reminded of a moment that I'm not terribly, I'm a little ashamed of. I'm not terribly proud of this moment, but I was at the dentist. And I've got a long history with the dentist. I had oral surgery. I've had a lot of stuff happen to the face. And so it's taken a lot of work to look like this. So I had a crowded mouth. I felt like I had teeth pulled like every other week as a kid. So dentist stuff is not a big deal to me. I don't mind. I don't like going to the doctor. The dentist is no big deal. So I had a filling, I think, from years back. It came out. And so I had to go to the dentist and have a new filling, that one replaced. And he said, I'm going to dig it out real good, give you a new filling, which means the numbing and the drilling. Well, I'm not going to name the dentist because this is not good publicity for them. But I went in and they put the long Q-tip in my mouth with the little bit of Novocaine to dull it for the big dramatic shot that is just over the top. That's a little much, needles come smaller, buddy. We don't need that. That looks like something you put oil in the car with. And then they jam that into your gums. That's a good feeling. But anyway, they did all that. And then they were like, hey, we're going to leave you watching, Chip and Joanna Gaines, and, we'll come back in a minute. And so when you're numb, well, the gal came back in, the dental hygienist, and I realized something. She's like, okay, Chris, I bet you're all ready. And I was like, I'm not numb. It didn't take. She didn't take. It didn't work. I don't know the shot, just if they missed. How do you miss with that giant needle? But something didn't happen. Nothing is numb. Like no numbness at all. Even the little Q-tip thing wore off. I'm just full on, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. So I was at an impasse. I was at a crossroads, right? I was like, do I say, excuse me, Pamela, she didn't take. But this was my brain. You ready for this? I wonder if I could take it. And you're looking at me like, see, I want people to look at me like, he's brave. You're looking at me like, what a moron. This guy's not very bright. We might need to consider a different church. He is not a very smart pastor. I mean, did you see the chaos of the first part of church? And now he's talking about purposely letting someone drill in his teeth. Completely Novocaine free. But there's something in the back of my brain that wanted to test my mettle and prove my strength. To who? No idea. To me, to my wife when I got home, to whatever. So to this day, there are still Chris-shaped finger marks. My butt tried to walk to the car. It just kind of, my butt cheeks were just leaving the office. Like, I'm just like, stay put, buddy, stay. I was fine. It hurt. It was not fun, but I survived. Why would I do that? Because somewhere deep in there, somewhere, my brain, my heart, wherever, there is a demand to be strong, to prove that I am strong, to let the world know that I'm strong. And I want other people to believe that. And that's, if we're honest with ourselves, which we encourage around here, we all value that. It's important to all of us that people see us as strong. It's very important to us. If not physically, sometimes physically. What do you lift, bro? I carried in the orange juice today. I don't know what you're asking me. If not physically, strong emotionally or strong mentally. Having strength of character, integrity, resolve. To say I never quit. Wanted to, but I didn't. There is a pressure inside of us to be strong in front of others, but also for others. I've got to be strong for them right now. They're going through a lot. I need to be strong for them. There's always this pressure to be strong, to be together, to hold it together, to be upright, to be positive, to look above it, to be beyond it. Thinking back, I was thinking about different parts of my life, different moments in my life, and I was thinking all the way back to being a kid in church. I grew up in church. I don't know if a lot of you guys did, but I grew up in church, and I think we had the felt board Sunday school stuff where, when they weren't looking, we played with them like it was, like an action movie. And of course, my favorite character as a kid was Samson, because I love superheroes, and he's like the closest we got, right? Supernatural strength. Now, I was blissfully unaware of what a piece of work that guy was. Not exactly a role model, but kind of the worst guy ever. But he was strong in that. That inspired me. That's what I wanted to be as a teenager. I remember I was thinking back, like youth conferences. If you guys grew up in youth ministry, in youth conferences, churches in the South, just hilarious. And we'd go to a youth conference, and the speaker would get up like, "Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Chaz, and this is my smoking hot wife." They always said something like that, which is just ridiculous. Settle down, Chaz. But listen here, kids. I used to smoke doobies. I used to put back like 2-3 Zimas every night. It's like, okay, so you used to be fun to hang out with, and now you got pleated khakis pulled up to your neck, and so I'm sorry, I'm making fun of people. Don't do that. But the message always sounded something like that. Then I became strong for the Lord. You want to be strong for the Lord. You want to be strong to resist the enemy so that he might flee from you. You want to be strong to say no. When everybody else is weak and saying yes, you say no because you're strong. And the whole thing, all the effort, all the focus, all the emphasis was placed right on top of my personal strength. My strength of character, my strength of resolve, my ability to do the right thing in my own strength. The emphasis was always me. Then I became a grown man. I owned a business. I bought a business when I was 20, and I met this smoking hot girl. I met this wonderful girl, and we got married. I was 23, she was 25, and we fell in love, and we're getting married, and we had a baby. I was age 30 when we had Berkeley, and so in all these conversations, I'm in men's groups, and I'm all these groups, and all these people, all these men, all these other people are telling me, "Chris, you got to be a strong husband, strong leader, strong father, strong. That's all I hear. You want to be one of these mighty men of valor. You want to be strong." And so I can tell you now, I'm 48 years old, I can tell you exactly what that does on the inside of someone, hearing that message nonstop my entire life. I can tell you exactly what it does. it has caused me to completely fold in on myself and become as self-reliant as humanly possible, and to never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, let anybody see me sweat. To not let anyone know that I need help. I have become independent as independent gets. I have become self-reliant as self-reliant gets. And the worst thing I could do is let anyone know that I'm not pulling this thing off and that I'm not nearly as strong as I want you to believe that I am. In his letter to the church in Corinth, Paul does what most self-respecting Christians would never, ever do. He admits to a fight that he's been losing for a very long time. He leads with his weakness. He says, let me tell you about this thing that I am failing at miserably, that I'm losing, and I'm begging God to help me with, but I'm not doing well with it. He says this is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 through 10. He says this, to keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan, to torment me, to keep me from becoming proud. 3 different times I've begged the Lord to take it away, and each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weakness, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my own weaknesses, in all the insults and the hardships and the persecutions and the troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I'm weak, that's when I'm strong. He says that this thorn, which theologians and people have tried to figure out what it is and guess and speculate, and they believe maybe it was his eyesight, or maybe it was some sort of lust issue, maybe it was physical, maybe it was an actual thorn in his side, I don't know. We're not told because it doesn't matter, and truthfully, because we don't know, we can substitute our thorn there easily. Fill in the blank. Whatever your issue is, whatever you're facing right now, whatever feels like a thorn to you, yes. And he says that the purpose behind it was ultimately humility, so that he would not be proud, so that he would be humble. If that's true, what that means is in God's economy, humility is greater than strength. He would rather him be weaker and humble versus stronger but prideful. He also alludes to the fact with his story that God's unorthodox approach to bringing strength to us is not the way that we thought. He says that his power works best in my weakness. When I am weak, that's when he is strong for me. When we are weak, that's when we're actually strong. His strength works in my weakness. What's astounding to me, as I mentioned, I've been in church my entire life. I can't remember a moment not having been actively in church somewhere, ever. I'm blown away by the fact that I have never, ever, ever heard anyone take any time to present this truth to me, that weakness shows up, that your weakness is where his strength shows up. Never. I've never heard that message. I've never heard that conversation. I've never read that book. That his strength works in my weakness. And I have to ask why. Like, why? That's clear. I'm reading it. You're reading it today with me. We hear it. This is the Apostle Paul. This isn't some B background character. How come no one's ever stopped to say, Chris, where you're weak is a gift from God. That's where you want to boast, because that's where his strength shows up the biggest. Well, because no one wants to hear that. That is the opposite of a crowd-pleasing message. That is, if you want to pack the seats of your church, that's not what you preach. You preach, just do it. You don't preach messages like, you can't. You preach messages like, hey, just a little bit more effort and you can get your act together. You don't preach, hey, church is a place for the people that can't get their acts together. There's a great quote that says, church is for losers. And who wants to stand in that line? I do, but I'm in a different place in my life. I don't know that I would have been ready for this message at age 25. Because I still thought I had it all together. I knew everything. Advice to me was just affirming my own beliefs. Just affirm me. That's all advice was to me. No one could tell me otherwise. Captain, I talked about last week. I knew everything. I knew it all. Knew everything. But then life has this way of beating you up pretty good, taking you out back and knocking you silly. And you have some limps and some scars and some bruises, and you start to realize, man, I just don't have it as together as I thought I did. All the things that I thought I knew tend to fall apart. This is where Paul is. He was a know-it-all his entire life until this point. And this is the stage of life where he's saying, hey guys, the only thing I'm going to boast in now is how weak I am. That's what I'm going to boast in means to brag about, to lead with. I'm going to talk about my weakness. Everything that was presented to me growing up in church was the opposite of this message. I never saw anyone actually boasting in their weakness. I actually saw more pride on display in the church practically than anywhere else. It's where I've heard the most glorification of personal strength the loudest. People's testimony tends to be, let me tell you, I turned it around. I'm strong for the Lord now. I've made it change, and look what I did. And it's all self-improvement brags. Those were the rules of the game as they were presented to me growing up. So that's how I played the game. I just try to make myself strong, look strong, never let them see me sweat. What I didn't realize is that you're only as good as your last mistake. You're only as good as your last bad day. I worked in a job where it was very much a perfectionistic setting, and after everything that we did, we would become hyper-focused on every detail that we could have done better, so we basically are always beating each other up every day, hours every week. Meetings of nothing but overanalyzing, scrutinizing every detail so that we can find something to trash somebody over. And so that's not good conditioning for a guy like me. and it did some damage. But I saw my right standing with God, His favor with me, in the same light. I had a bad attitude this week, therefore I've just taken 2 steps back. I let my anger get the best of me. I flicked the guy off driving the other day. Well, Sonia did, but I'll take it. I'll take the blame. So I get frustrated. I got hot under the collar. I doubted. I had less faith. I didn't trust God to help me do something. Those kinds of moments are the types of moments where you feel like, okay, well, now I've got a 72 in this class. I need to get back up to an A. It's just a way that we're conditioned to think. Those are the rules, and that's how we play them. I can tell you now, from this vantage point, that's a prison sentence. That mentality is prison. You're shackled to be a dishonest and crushingly overwhelmed person every day of your Christian life. You're not free to be honest and say, I'm not doing good. What about this? Try this one. I need help. Man, you might as well ask somebody to have the keys to their home. You feel like that's the worst thing you can ask somebody. I need help. Can you help me? We've been conditioned to believe that that is so bad, that we're bad to ask. No one else is asking. We believe that that's how you do it. And it's overwhelming and it's crushing. But if God wants anything from us, it's this: for us to be honest. He wants us to be honest with ourselves, certainly with Him, with each other. Truth sets us free. That's what it does. We're liberated in truth. So I'll go first. I'll take the lead. I am way weaker than you think I am. I am very weak. I doubt a lot. This door broke last night. And the event that was going on told us that the crash bar came off, therefore can't close, can't lock. And so I'm driving down, my wife and I were driving down to close the event, clean it and everything. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to fix it. There's no fixing it. It's going to be wide open all night. I got to figure out something. I'm going to have to chain it, bar it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to figure out how to keep this because I'm not going to be able to fix it. No trust. I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to have faith for a living. That's what I do. I talk about faith. I exemplify faith, and I've got none. To just trust God for a door is hard for me sometimes. I believe, but help my unbelief. I feel that way a lot. I want to give up a lot. I want to quit more often than I should. I want to lose my cool. I want to tell people off. I want to tell people like it is. I want to let my emotions fly. I told you guys a story about the people parking in our parking lot to walk over to the antique shop. Well, the other day they were parking in our parking lot to walk down to White Duck to watch a soccer game. That was worse for me. I wanted to take those people and throw them back in their cars. I would love to say, Chris, I'm delivered of that. I've been freed of that. It doesn't bother me anymore. It bothers me so much. And it's so dumb. I don't feel like I'm very good at my job. In fact, I feel pretty miserable at what I do most of the time. I don't feel especially gifted or talented or successful or special. I feel weak. I feel inadequate. I feel like I don't qualify for much. And I used to wear a lot of masks, as many as I possibly could, in order to keep that under wraps. To never let them see me sweat, to let them see the charismatic, gregarious guy that everybody wants a charismatic leader. And I'm just I'm kind of a dork that doesn't believe in myself. But what I'm learning in the process, as I've let the mask slip, is to grow more comfortable with my weakness. And even leading with it. Maybe even to the point of sometimes boasting in it. That I'm not the right guy for the job. That I don't have it all together. But my commitment in that is not that I'll be strong one day. It's that I'm okay leaning on His strength. I'm growing more adept at letting His strength fill the vacuum and the void. I trust God to do what God's going to do, and I'm okay and free to get out of the way. And that's my commitment. And not to toot my own horn, but that's the kind of leader I would want. That's the kind of place I would want to be at. The place that's always bragging and boasting about how much they do, or how much they've done, or how much they have, I pass on that. I've lived that life. I've been there, done that, and I'm done with that. I'm learning to grow more comfortable in my weakness. And I think part of that is where humanity bonds, connects. We don't really connect in our strengths. We connect in our weaknesses. We might congratulate each other over strengths, and we might be impressed by successes that other people have, but relationships forge over losses and misses and weaknesses and need. Small groups are bigger when the people in it feel like they need each other. When you don't think you need anybody else, why would you go to a small group? Sunday mornings have more people in it, the more that we realize we need something that we don't have, and that is more of Jesus and more of each other. Self-sufficient people, they'll go somewhere else. They'll go somewhere else where strength is encouraged and independence is celebrated. I am a bigger fan of codependency, but not in this unhealthy way. I'll put it this way, interdependence. We're all as dependent on Christ as the other person, and He's also caused us, made us, designed us to need each other. That's the way that we're made. This notion that someone somewhere said one time that became everyone's belief system, God will never give you more than you can handle, is absolute garbage. It's a misinterpretation of a quote that talks about God never tempting you beyond He's not going to tempt you to a place that you're going to fall or fail. That has nothing to do with Him not loading you up with stuff that you can't handle. In my experience at 48 years old, that's all He gives me. That's the only thing He gives me is what I can't handle. Why would He entrust what I can handle to me? He doesn't want me to rely on me. He wants me to rely on Him. So He gives me what I need Him for. Not by might, not by power, by His Spirit, says the Lord. Look what the Lord has done is our only boast that we have. Look what He's done. Despite me, in spite of me, sometimes without my help, without me even anywhere near it. Look what He's done. He will always and forever continually give you more than you can handle, so that we have to rely on His strength and not our own. So that we need each other. I know that we've been told the greatest quality is strength, therefore the worst thing you can have is weakness or need. The opposite is true. The worst place that we can be is completely self-reliant. That would be the Pharisees. And if strength and independence was the way to go, then the Pharisees, Jesus would have held them up and said, just do this. They're nailing it. But He had a lot of contention with those guys because that's the opposite. Jesus is drawn to need. He's drawn to those who call out, cry out, need Him. One more verse, two more verses. Philippians 4:13. I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. That is absolutely true. But the inverse is true also. You can't do anything without Him. Every time, speaking of Samson, performed some feat of strength in the Bible, you read about it. He lived during the time of the judges. And every time he did this supernatural thing, act of strength, the Bible said prior to that, right before it, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him powerfully. Not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4. Ephesians 3:16. I pray that from his glorious unlimited resources that he will empower you with inner strength through his Spirit. The Spirit of God. That is strength. That is resolve. It is supernatural, and it's more than we have, and it's everything we need. We need Jesus. We need his grace. We need his strength. We need each other. We're not independent, we're interdependent. We're 100% dependent on Christ together. So as far as strength, we're kind of treating this like a reorganization, decluttering in our brains and our hearts and our belief systems. As far as strength is concerned, my advice, all the mentality, all the beliefs that you've accumulated about strength, being strong for somebody else, being strong for everybody, never let them see you sweat, throw it away. Just get rid of that one. Let's get new strength. Let's get a new one. Have you ever found something like, I know we still have one of those. We still have a blender. The blender's from 1973, okay? It's got rust, it's gross, it doesn't work, it catches on fire. Throw it away, get a new one. It's time to move on. This old religious, old-timey, God will never give me more than I can handle. I'm strong, I'm a strong guy, I'm a strong Christian, strong leader, strong whatever. Throw it away. Let's get rid of that one. And let's just get a new version of it. One that actually is in tune with the heart of God. One that actually is birthed out of humility, not pride. Dependency, not self-reliance. That is not ashamed to admit or even boast, I'm weak, I need help. I need friends, I need connections, I need support, I need help moving, I need help raising these kids, I need advice, I need encouragement, whatever it is. May we be the neediest church in town. No pastor has ever said that phrase. May we be a church that's free to say, I need help, I need support, I need prayer. So yeah, strength is a good thing, but only his. Ours is a poor substitute. I'll quote a song that most of you guys know as I close. It typically goes to him, they're talking about little kids. To him, they belong. They are weak. He is strong. To retune that song to fit proper gospel theology, it's not they are weak, he is strong. I am weak. He is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. I am weak. He is strong. But yes, Jesus loves me. And he is my strength. I want to pray. If you would just bow your heads and close your eyes, we'll take a moment here.